Hello friends, welcome to our channel Knowledge Amplifier. And today in this particular video, I am going to discuss how we can encrypt and decrypt environmental variables using AWS Lambda function. Okay, so for this particular discussion purpose, obviously I am going to use Lambda. As a programming language, I am going to use Python, and to access the environmental variable, I am going to use OS module, and to make the whole code more secured, I am going to use AWS KMS. What is this particular service? Regarding that, soon I am going to discuss within few minutes. Okay. So many times we use many secure keys that can be user ID or password or JDBC URL using which you are connecting to a database. Okay, in our code. And if you are hard coding those values, that is a terrible idea because you are exposing to the external world, right? Like for example, you have used some secure credentials in your code, and for future reference, you are putting that code in a GitHub repo, and that GitHub repo is public. That time anyone who can see the code can access the data of that database or any particular confidential information they can access. So that is a problem, right? So secrets are meant to be well secured. We need to ensure that as a programmer or developer. We cannot expose important secure keys like database passwords and all to the outside world. And hard coding passwords or some credentials is a terrible idea. We must need to avoid that as much as possible. And luckily, AWS Lambda, if we are using, we can easily avoid that using the environmental variable feature, which I am going to show you. So, using environmental variable, you might not need to hardcode the user ID, password, this kind of secure credential in your code. But if some person have access to that Lambda function, they can easily access that environmental variable too. So what we need to ensure? We will provide the environmental variable as well as we will try to create such system which will encrypt that environmental variables so that who can see the environmental variable, even they also cannot use that directly. They need to decrypt that first, and for that they need to know that key using which the encryption happened, right? Because for cryptography, encryption and decryption, we need some key. That key we are going to store using KMS. We are going to give access using KMS. Everyone will not have access to that key. Okay. So what is AWS KMS? KMS is key management system. Okay, or key management service. AWS KMS makes it easy for you to create and manage cryptographic key and control their use across a wide range of AWS services and in your application. Okay, so number one thing, it will create the cryptographic key which can be used for encryption and decryption. It will manage that also. It will ensure that to some particular application will be having access to that key. Not every application. Okay, so most important feature of KMS can be described like it has control access using IAM, user and role. You can specify which IAM, user and role can access that KMS key. No other IAM, user and role can access that, right? Then another important feature is automatically rotate keys. You can apply this particular feature to make your system more secured. That is, for example, in a periodic repetition, suppose for 30 days interval, you will be changing your password. One password will be staying for 30 days. After 30 days, one new password will come. Once 30 days will over, again the previous password will come. Like that, automatically key rotation. Sometimes admin team enable this particular feature to make system more secure. Okay. Apart from that, re-enable disabled keys. Okay. What is this particular feature? That is, for example, currently you are having some KMS keys which you are using for encoding and decoding some secret credential. Okay. Now you have observed that this particular key we might not need to use in upcoming 30 days. So you can disable that key. After 30 days, if you need that key for decrypting the secured credentials, that time you can re-enable those. So all these things you can do using this KMS or key management service. Okay. So I am going to discuss how we can use environmental variable in AWS Lambda, as well as I am going to show you how we can make this system secured using this key management service, right? So without wasting much time, let us directly jump into our code. So for this particular discussion purpose, I am considering the same example which I used in my previous video also for demonstrating the CloudWatch event trigger. That is, we are having one API. That API we generated from this openweather.org, which can be used to access the temperature or weather related information for a particular city, right? So if you want to know the detailed explanation how to access this website, how to create the API key, you can check the link given in the description box. I have already explained in detail. So I created one API key which is kind of secret credential, we can say, so that we will try to secure in our program. Okay. So if we consider simple programming, how we did in Google Colab, that is, first we install the request library, and then we have imported that. We are giving this city name, API key which we created, and then we are passing in this URL, right? The city name and API key. Also we are specifying unit as metric, so that the temperature related information whatever we are going to get from this API response, that should be in Celsius unit, because in Celsius unit you are more comfortable, right? So I am using this one, and then we are using get method to get the result set, right? Which is coming the response as a JSON format, and we are converting using this .json, and we are getting this particular response which is kind of dictionary, right? Like for example, if you want to get the temperature related information for this particular Orlando city, then you can see that in this particular data extracted in this dictionary, there is a key called main, and in the main key, temperature is another key where temperature information is stored in Celsius unit, right? So suppose I want to access the temperature, so I need to first go to this main key, and then I need to go to temperature key. So like that, I can simply access the temperature information from this data, right? Same thing, let me first do in AWS Lambda. Okay, so I'll go to Lambda console. Okay, I'll click on Lambda. I will create a new function. Okay, in the function name I'll be giving Lambda KMS testing. Okay, then as a runtime I am going to choose Python 3.7, not Python 3.9. Why? Because the request library is readily available in AWS Lambda for this 3.7 version, but not for 3.9. If you want to use request library in 3.9, you need to create layer or zip the whole code with all the dependent libraries, put in some S3 location and use that path. Like that way you have to do. That also I discussed earlier, but for the simplicity purpose, I am directly using Python 3.7 where request library is available. Okay, and then I am going to create the function. That's it. Okay. How my function will look like? My function will look like this: import Boto3, import request, import JSON, and then we are creating the Lambda function. City name and API key we are passing. URL, the same way just now how I discussed. URL is specified. We are printing the URL. We are using get method to get the information. We are converting to this data, and then we are accessing the temperature related information using the dictionary keys, and we are printing the temperature related information. Let me copy this particular piece of code. I am not copying Boto3 because currently Boto3 is not required. Okay, so I can go to this Lambda function, and here I can delete this one. I can paste this city name. I can copy from here, which is Orlando. Okay, and then API key I can copy from here, right? And that one I can paste it here. Okay, so now you see this code is not secured because API key is something important or should be secured, but we are simply exposing. Now suppose I am putting this code in GitHub, anyone who will see this code in public repo, they can run this code easily, right? So that we will make it secured. Before that, let me deploy this and test whether it is working or not. Okay, I'll go to test. I'll go to click on test. Okay, so see, it is successfully executed, and if you go to this particular logs, you will get temperature of Orlando city is 31.65 degrees Celsius, right? Now let us do one thing. Let us go to Lambda function, and then here let us try to put these two values in some environmental variable. Okay, right? So here I will do import OS, which is used to access the environmental variable, and instead of city name I will put OS dot environ is the function using which we access any environmental variable, and suppose city name is stored in city environmental variable. Okay, API key is stored in, suppose, API key environmental variable. Okay, right? So now this particular code, if you put in GitHub, it is at least more secure than earlier version, right? Because no person can simply run this code. Like for example, if I simply go to test this code, it will throw error. And if you see, it is not throwing error. Okay, sorry, I forgot to deploy this modified code. Let me deploy that, and then if I test it, you will see that you will be getting key error city, because this city is not stored as an environmental key. We need to save that, then only we can access that, right? So for that, to set up environmental variable in Lambda function, all we need to do, go to configuration and go to environmental variable, click on edit, and then add environmental variable. In key, you can add the environmental variable. So city, I want to put this environmental variable, Orlando. Okay, and here this particular one, API key, I want to put this particular environmental variable. Okay, value. Okay, right? So now this particular Lambda function will run in some EC2, right? In EC2, these two keys will be accessible. So our code will access those two keys, and then the value it will put in these two variables, city name and API key, and it will run. We can test it now. If we test, key error API. What is that? Let me confirm. API key. Okay, sorry, here this is API key, right? Now let me deploy that and test it out. Here it is coming. Let me go to configuration. Here I specified API key perfectly. Okay, key error API key. It is trying to access API key only. Okay, sorry, API key. I did mistake in spelling. Now let me test it and see, it is successful. The temperature of Orlando city is 31.65 degrees Celsius. Perfect, right? At least the code is more secure than earlier. Now we can put this in GitHub. But the problem is, suppose someone who have access to this Lambda function, they can simply go to configuration and they can see, okay, this is the API key and this is the city name. Like this way, we are not making the whole system more secure, right? So we need to encrypt these two values, or at least one value. Like city is not that much secure thing. At least API key we need to secure, and that we are going to do using KMS. So I will go to AWS Management Console. I will go to Key Management Service. Okay, I'll click on that and I will go to create a key, and I am going to create symmetric key. That means same key will be used for both encryption and decryption. Okay, I can go to next and display key name Lambda KMS demo. Like that I am giving. If you want, you can give some description also, and then I can click on next. And then here we need to basically mention that what are the IAM user or role which can access this key. Okay, all the IAM or role cannot access. Only those which will be mentioning, those alone can access this key for encryption and decryption. All right. So our Lambda should have access to this new key. So we need to allow the Lambda role here so that that role can access. So we need to go to permission in the Lambda function, and we can copy this role name. Okay, I will be copying this. I will be going here. I will be pasting that, and here this is the service role it is showing for the Lambda which just now we created. I will be giving this access. I will be going to next, and then here we need to choose the account. Again for the same Lambda, suppose Lambda role I want to give this access. Okay, I can go to next, and these are the informations what you can see, right? Symmetric key. Okay, same key we are going to use for encryption and decryption. We can click on finish, right? So you can see here your AWS KMS key successfully created. Just now we created this particular key, which is Lambda KMS demo, right? So now we are going to use this for encryption in these environmental variables. So all we need to do to encrypt our environmental variable, we can go to environmental variable, click on edit, and then see here encryption configuration. Click on that, encrypt that, click on this encryption, and see it is asking for encryption. Click on encrypt, and then here AWS KMS key we need to choose. So just now I created this Lambda demo, right? And then here the AWS is also providing the code for decryption. So I'll be keeping this handy. I'll be copying this, okay? And then here we can click on encrypt, okay? So this value is now encrypted, right? CT explicitly I am not encrypting because it is not something has to be secured, but API key, user ID, password, or JDBC URL which is connecting to some database you must have to encrypt like this way, okay? Now this particular environmental variable is encrypted, but if we simply try to run, then it will throw error, right? Because using os.environ we are able to access the encrypted key, but we need to decrypt before using. So the code which I copied that time, that I just pasted, okay? Here import os coming 2 times, I'll be deleting 1 time, and then here see, first we are reading that encrypted key and then we are decrypting using this piece of code. So basically decrypted key will be stored here. I'll be copying this and I'll be replacing here, okay, right? So now what is the overall code is now becoming? First thing, there is no hard coding of any city name or our API key. Moreover, our API key is now secured. Suppose someone who has access to Lambda, if they try to go to configuration and if they go to this API key, here API key should be secured, right? Let me refresh this. Okay, it is not showing that security. Let me go to edit. Okay, I think I forgot to save that. Okay, right. So here I need to go to enable and then click on encrypt. I'll basically encrypt that using Lambda KMS key, whatever we created, and I can click on encrypt. And once it is encrypted, you need to save here, okay? Make sure you're saving, okay? Now see, here the API key is having this encrypted version. No one can understand what is the actual API key until they can decrypt it. And decryption they cannot do for any code. Only using this particular Lambda they can do, because here this Lambda has access to decrypt that. That's what we have given the IAM in that role. IAM role we have given in that KMS key creation, right? Not all the Lambda can easily decrypt this. If you execute the same code for your other Lambda which don't have that role access to the KMS, the code will throw error. Okay, right? So now I can deploy this, right? And then I can click on test. If this particular test event I can create, okay, my test something I have given the name. I can click on create, and then if I run this, you will see that test event was successfully saved. If I go to test and then here my test event is saved, what we need to do, we need to test this out, okay, and see execution result is successful. Okay, here you will see that here we are getting the temperature related information for Orlando city as 31.64 degrees Celsius. Okay, all this is happening because this particular AWS Lambda function has access to that KMS. Otherwise this decryption will not be possible. I'll be showing you that too. What I will do, I'll be copying this particular piece of code, okay, and then here I will go to functions. I'll be creating another function, okay, maybe some name I can give, demo2 KMS, and here I'll be choosing the Python version as Python 3.7, and I will create this function, okay. here I can paste the same, right? So this particular code I have pasted, I have deployed. Okay, now in the configuration, what we'll do, we will edit this. Okay, add environmental variable, I will add that. Okay, API key, what is the value we created? Let me go back in the function. So this is the function just now we created, lambda mask testing. And then what I will do, I will basically go to configuration and I will try to copy this particular API key. Okay, suppose I am the hacker and I am trying to just replicate the same thing, whatever is done in this code, and try to access that. Okay, pasted the city and this is the value, right? And then save it, right? So now I basically created another lambda which is having same API key, same city name as environmental variable. Okay, same code also. Code is also not at all changed. I deployed the code. Now if I test this, see what will happen. Let me go to directly test here, and then if I click on test, you will see something really interesting will happen. Okay, so here execution result failed. Here what it is telling, task timeout after 3.06 seconds. Okay, sometime it might happen, no need to worry. Let me increase that. I'll go to configuration, and here I'll go to general configuration. I will edit this, and maybe I will increase the lambda function runtime to 30 seconds. Okay, save this, and then let me try to test this code. Okay, so see, it got failed. What is the reason? You can clearly see an error occurred while calling the decrypt option. The ciphertext refers to a customer master key that does not exist, or that can be does not exist in this region, or you are not allowed to access. Okay, so that is, I replicated same scenario as of my earlier function. I gave the same in the configuration, in the environmental variable, I added the same API key and city. I added the same decryption code in the lambda function, but still the lambda function cannot be used because we have made the security using KMS, and we have mentioned KMS that only that lambda role, whatever we mentioned that time, that should be able to access. No other lambda can access this one, right? So I hope you are understanding this particular feature. You can control the access of the cryptographic key or ciphertext using IAM user and role. Automatically key rotation is something which you can explore, and re-enable disabled keys. That is also interesting feature. If you go to KMS, you will see that here this particular key is disabled. What you can do, just click on this, and if you go to key action, you can click on enable, it will be enabled. Okay, and all those places where applications are using this particular key for encrypting or decrypting some secret credential can be reused. Okay, so these kind of things you can control using this key management service or KMS. I hope the importance with respect to making your code more secured and how to use KMS with Lambda, how to use environmental variable, this picture is clear to you. If you find this video helpful, then please like, share and comment. Subscribe our channel if you have not subscribed till now. And don't forget to press the bell icon to get the notification of our latest videos. Thank you.